Welcome to Derm Dumber, a podcast about all things dermatology, skincare, and whatever else catches our attention. We're a husband and wife. One of us is a dermatologist.
And one is not.
Oh, and by the way, this is a podcast, not a medical appointment. It is for entertainment and general informational purposes only and should not be considered medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment.
Okay, so what do you want to talk about today?
I want to talk about sunscreen deniers and people that do not think that UV exposure causes skin cancer.
Oh, hot topic. So could this be coming from a particular video on Instagram that went viral pretty hard for you recently?
You guessed it. Yes. So this little video has amassed almost 1.4 million views over just a few days.
And that's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah, most of your videos don't go that high.
I mean, there's definitely a range from like 6,000 to kind of 100,000 more commonly.
Okay.
But this one,
some reason or another, Instagram thought everybody should see this one.
yes, it got very controversial, probably because of what I was wearing in the video.
Ah, okay. And so before our minds go to the wrong direction, go ahead and tell us, what were you wearing? Set the scene. Where were you?
I was on the beach.
Okay.
And I was just wearing my usual swim gear.
Okay. So just a swimsuit? Was it a two-piece? One-piece?
It was a mini piece swimsuit.
Many pieces. Okay.
Yes. So, and it did involve my face shield mask.
Right? The welder's mask, I like to call it.
Yes, a reflective full face mask, as well as my UPF rated swimsuit, which includes swim tights. So yes, long sleeve swimwear, tights, long tights for swimwear, and then long sleeve shirt. I also had on a ski mask sort of thing. What is that thing called?
Yes, a balaclava.
Yeah. Okay, so I had one of those on because you can't really fit a hat on top of the sun visor.
Right.
So the sun visor goes on top of that.
Oh my God. But you couldn't even tell you were wearing it in the picture because the visor is so crazy.
Yeah, for the most part. So it was just a normal day for me at the beach, but apparently the internet was confused by this and the algorithm did not do me any favors. But all this little video said, which by the way, I've used that clip for other things that did not go viral.
Right.
But what the text on the video said, the UV is only 5. We will be totally fine laying out for an hour or two.
Right. And now, this isn't something you wear every day that you go outside, even if it's the beach or not. I mean, like whether, you were kind of setting it up for a great picture of sunscreen protection options, right?
I mean, you haven't actually been to the beach with me in a while.
It has been a while.
But yeah, I mean, if I'm going to be out there for a while chilling, I am pretty much going to be wearing this. I mean, I might lift the visor up, if I'm under an umbrella and just, have a hat on or something like that and sunglasses.
Wow. Okay.
But I mean, I definitely have on the tights and long sleeve, swim shirt.
Okay. Yeah. No, I've seen that. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I just don't like wearing sunscreen is the bottom line.
I just thought maybe you were I was going to play devil's advocate for a second and be like, you were just rage baiting all these poor internet folk.
No, and that is a lot of the accusation in the comments is that this is just rage bait, but, really, really not.
Okay. All right. So, yeah. All right. So the stage has been set and the scene has been described. You were at the beach wearing an insane amount of clothing for what most Americans typically wear at the beach. And you put out a video with just a still image of you wearing this stuff.
I mean, it was a short video, not a still image. But,
oh, okay.
But yeah.
Yeah. All right. So just a short video wearing it and then saying, you're set, you're ready to handle a UV rating of 5. And the internet said, not so fast. You're a weirdo. And then they just laid into you.
Yeah, basically. It kind of like...
You had some defenders.
I definitely had some defenders, but a lot of comments that expressed not believing that sun exposure causes skin cancer, that sunscreen may cause skin cancer. A huge one was that, I should just avoid seed oils and I can do whatever I want in the sun. But
Ooh, all kinds of misinformation.
yeah, and then it just, again, I say it got into the wrong hands because there were just people that just calling me names and, racist things. I mean, it
Yeah.
really like kind of went off the rails. So it definitely kind of got beyond my usual audience.
Yeah, it was a perfect microcosm of all that the internet can offer. It had positive, supporting defender types
Yeah.
telling you, looks good, protect yourself, and then you've had the racist name callers.
Yeah, exactly. And, I did make a response video, which I thought was kind of funny, where I read some of the names. It was a little bit of a tribute to this teacher that does content, Miss Dugan. Do you know her? I think I'm saying that right. Anyway, she'll sometimes just with sort of a very monotone voice read what she's been called that day by her middle school
Oh,
students.
yes, I believe I've seen one of those.
Yeah, so that was kind of the
She's
inspiration. Anyway, so I read some of these words. I mean, I did not read all of them because some of them I did not want to be recorded as saying on social media.
Yeah, no, they were bad.
They were really bad, and I made this video when there were only like a couple thousand comments. Or I'm sorry, not even thousands of comments. It has even that second video now has more comments than the original, a couple of thousand comments. So yeah, most of them not good and not based on any good critical thinking skills or education.
No way. Oh, man. People always go to social media for the latest in scientific research. Um, well, you can. You just got to know the right accounts to follow. But anyways, all right. So yeah, wait a minute. You tell me why, and I'll just play devil's advocate on a couple of these things.
Mhm.
Why seed oils, or the folks that hate the seed oils, are saying this? Why do they hate it so much?
So first, let's say what seed oils are.
Okay.
So they're usually talking about things like canola oil, soybean, sunflower, and corn oil. I think there's a few other ones, but those are the typical seed oils. And, they do have some potential negatives, but overall, us using seed oils is a better choice than like animal fats in terms of, cardiovascular risk.
Sure. I know the
Um,
cardiologists out there love it when we made that switch as a general population
yeah.
years ago.
But seed oils are criticized because they are higher in omega-6 fatty acids, and some of them can actually be really refined and processed. And those things can lead to more of a pro-inflammatory state overall, which can lead to cancer. That's kind of like all the buzz right now is, inflammation, bad, cancer. So
Well, yeah, and that's all true.
it is true,
Yeah,
but,
inflammation is a.
moderation. No one's saying that you should be guzzling down gallons of seed oils a day. But okay, so there's that part. And then seed oils also, when we ingest them, they heat up in our body. And that turns into some oxidative stress that leads to some DNA damage via mutations in our cells, which could lead to cancer.
Which is also what the sun does to your skin cells.
Exactly.
DNA damage, mutations, cancer. See, I'm learning.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've heard you say that enough.
Yeah. And I mean, most of these issues are like, again, in lab studies, in like rodent studies, and we're not talking about the usual consumption of a human. We're talking about super excessive amounts that they didn't then discover cause these things. But as you mentioned, back to the skin cancer situation, like the exact sort of mechanism of that is that these seed oils contain polyunsaturated fatty acids. These get inserted into skin cell membranes, and then when UV light hits those membranes, it damages the membrane, and that causes cancer. And so basically the argument amongst these people is that, like, oh, if you just don't have any seed oils in your diet, when you go outside, you're fine. You
Right.
have to have, it's not true that you have to have,
Any protection at all?
well, you don't have to have the seed oil for this to happen,
Oh,
right?
I
And it's
see.
not that you can just not ingest seed oil and you're fine. And you can go out and have any amount of UV exposure.
Right. So it's another one of those circumstances where people will take a tiny little kernel of a part of a study and then run with it and make wild claims
Exactly.
that do not necessarily follow from the result.
Exactly. And this is pretty much like the entire
That's the entire wellness industry.
industry.
It starts from somewhere good. Everybody wants to be healthier,
yeah.
right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
okay. But then they make an entire business out of it.
Yeah. And this is, I mean, I'm a dermatologist, so it's always coming back to that. I assume there's probably a lot of other examples in other specialties, but like I am always talking to my patients about this example with biotin, where basically an entire industry of hair supplements was created based on a fact, which I will share with you in a moment, but it's not relevant to more than a few people out there. So basically, there is a hereditary condition that you can have where you have biotin deficiency and your hair is terrible. It's thin, it breaks. You give those people biotin and their hair dramatically improves. So this entire industry was then built on the fact, like, okay, normal people, give them biotin when they're experiencing some kind of problem with their hair, they're going to have great hair. I mean, this is like I don't know, probably billion-dollar industry, the hair supplement industry. It's crazy right now.
Sure. So, yeah. So this is not a product that's, regulated in any way. It's just a over-the-counter biotin pill you can get.
Yeah, I mean, biotin is just a supplement. Supplements aren't regulated. I mean,
No,
and it could be anything in that supplement. So,
ugh.
yeah.
Well, no shortage of stories like that. But yeah, so there it is. Again, somebody takes a little thing about a study, runs with it, makes $1 million or more.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. Well, so yeah. Any other
Yeah, so seed oils were huge. There were people, concerned about my lack of ability to enjoy the beach and how this was going to be stressful for me. This must be so stressful for me. And
wait, just being at the beach is stressful?
well, that I had
Having
to
to-
like go to these extremes to be on the beach.
Oh,
And I'm like, this is actually the easiest. I mean, I don't have to worry about rubbing on sunscreen. I can just
Yeah.
be out here for hours at a time.
don't need to set a timer for when to reapply.
Right. And, this is swim type of material. You just walk right into the water.
Yeah.
It like could not be any simpler
Right.
and actually contributes to my enjoyment of the beach.
Well, there you go. There you go. Yeah. No, look, there's people love to hate, and when you get to be anonymous online, you get to just ramp up that bad behavior and without consequences. So I like that you were calling some of the people out. I know it's mostly anonymous and nobody knows who these people are.
Yeah.
But still.
But I mean, I think you feel the same way. I think a lot of people feel the same way. If they do believe in ultraviolet radiation causing skin cancer, that sun protective clothing is a lot easier to deal with.
I prefer it. I don't like, but I've got really hairy legs and I've always got some version of a beard. I also have, and I don't know, maybe you can test for this, but I looked this up. There are people that are called super smellers. And I think I would be one if I ever took a test, if there is such a thing. But I am super sensitive to the smell of sunscreens. I don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
I don't like it. So yeah, I always wear clothes and hats and things instead of, instead of a bunch of sunscreen that I have to, rub off for an hour in the shower because it's so glued onto me
Yeah.
in my hairy leg.
Yeah, I mean, there's formulations that can do better to rub in those areas, but yeah, I mean, there is always an odor of some sort, I think, although some of them less than others.
Sure. And maybe some people don't mind it. Maybe some people aren't as sensitive, but
Yeah. Yeah, so the other thing that people came at me a lot about was that sunscreen itself causes skin cancer.
right. So even though you were wearing clothes, instead of a bunch of sunscreen, they threw out the old, sunscreen actually causes cancer more than the sun.
Right, exactly. So, I
Please
know.
tell us why that's not true.
Um, yeah, so this is another example of a little bit of information being used for evil. So, it is true that, well, let me take a step back. So, there are two classes of sunscreen filters in the United States. There are chemical and mineral sunscreens. The mineral sunscreens are titanium and zinc. The chemical sunscreens, I always say it's easy to remember. Those are just the ones that are harder to pronounce. There have been studies that show that chemical sunscreens are absorbed into our blood. So, well-controlled studies, humans applying sunscreen in very controlled laboratory conditions in terms of the amount, how much they're reapplying, how consistently they're doing it over a few days. So these chemical sunscreens were able to be measured in their bloodstream. What we don't know is what that means or does. We don't know. Um,
But people want to make assumptions, of course.
correct.
They found it, so therefore it's bad.
Correct. But the thing is, I mean, there's a lot of problems here. One is that nobody uses sunscreen that well. Most of us barely put any on. Um, we're not reapplying it enough. We're sweating it off right away. I tell people that, like, if you're not thinking it's a job to rub in, you're not using enough.
Right. No, I've seen the videos, and I've seen you talk about how much you need to put on if you're doing it right. And it is like half a bottle every time. If you're like a dude just wearing a swimsuit and no swim shirt, no hat, and you were to cover every bit of skin, right? Isn't it like
It's a shot glass.
there's a shot glass
Hmm.
for like
Yeah.
per body part?
No,
Or
no,
for,
shot glass for the body.
oh, all right. Well,
But
seems like a lot when I
it's
see it.
a lot.
I mean, a shot glass full of sunscreen is a lot.
Yeah, it is
Okay.
a lot. So
All right.
yeah, if
So
you're,
yeah, no wonder it should feel like a job.
yeah,
Why you just throw on a shirt like I do?
exactly. So
Some shirts are nice. They're cool.
yeah,
They've come a long way.
so much easier. You just stay covered, and then you put the sunscreen on where you can't cover, and you don't have to worry so much about a large area of absorption if that is something you care about. Um, or you can just choose to use mineral sunscreen and avoid this whole conversation because it is not absorbed. But the downside of mineral sunscreen is that these are the ones that tend to leave a white cast, and they're harder to rub in areas where you have hair, for example. So they're just not as cosmetically elegant. So there's a trade-off.
Got it. Easy enough. Now, what about that sunscreen? I assume this is the chemical one that we get warned about when it comes to coral reefs.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yes,
That's the chemical one?
it is the chemical sunscreen. So again, another situation of a shred of evidence has created, honestly, in this situation, an entire new marketing claim that uh, brands can use, and that is coral reef friendly sunscreen.
Right. Which
Coral
sounds
reef
fine.
safe.
Which should be good. Coral reefs need
Yeah.
help.
Yeah, sure. But the thing is, these were studies in very controlled settings, in like labs with aquariums full of coral, exposed to very large concentrations of the chemical sunscreen filters, and the coral got bleached. The thing is that environmental experts think that it is really, they know that global warming, climate change, that definitively
Has more to do with
increases
it.
and has, yes, bleaching of coral reefs, and has much more to do with it um, than any small contribution there might be from sunscreen. So that's what we should be up in arms about, not the use of chemical sunscreens. But um, really, like, I know Hawaii banned,
Yeah.
you can only buy reef-friendly sunscreen there.
Whatever. Okay, that's fine. So there you go. Just use that one.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
What else came up in the comments? People are very worried about my vitamin D.
oh, yes, because a lot of people think that, the only way you can get vitamin D is from the star at the center of our solar system?
Yes. So lots of comments. So, I would comment and say, well, yes, I do actually worry about my vitamin D, as honestly we all should, because it is definitely something that's we're learning is more and more important to have optimal levels of. So get your vitamin D level checked and supplement it. So then people would come back and say, well, the supplements don't work as well. And that is 100% not true. It's been studied.
Yeah, in fact, isn't vitamin D one of the few vitamins that we can get through supplements that actually, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember hearing that those multivitamins were pretty useless because our body doesn't end up absorbing most of the vitamins in those pills, and you should just get it from your food if
Right.
you can, with the exception of vitamin D and maybe E or something. I don't know, am I wrong?
I mean, vitamin D is a fat soluble vitamin, um, along with a few others. I think it's A, D, E, and K.
So those are the best ones that we can get from supplements and pills?
That's my understanding of it, but I have researched if if there's any benefit to vitamin D that you have derived, made yourself versus taken as a supplement. And there are studies that confirm there is no problem just taking it as a supplement. It doesn't do anything special. Your levels are not higher if you get it via sun exposure. So thanks for the worry, people, but I'm all good. The other thing I want to point out is that, yes, if you're wearing head to toe covering constantly, you will likely become vitamin D deficient if you're not supplementing. But if you're only relying on sunscreen, we've already talked about how poorly most people are using it.
Right.
So, and no sunscreen is 100%. So you're still getting UV radiation through the sunscreen. So depending on where you live, how long you're out, how much body surface area you have exposed, you may still just be doing fine on your vitamin D. But I do recommend that you just get it checked periodically.
Okay. Good advice.
Yeah.
All right. So you put to bed their concerns about your vitamin D not absorption from the sun, even though you said I can get it elsewhere, and they came back with, oh, but you can't get it very well through there. You can't get it through pills all that great. You need to still be in the sun. All right.
Yeah.
Anyways, I get their argument, and
Not true. Yeah.
and it's bad.
Now, I do think that there were also comments about, I don't really exactly remember what they were, but basically alluding to the fact that, you're going to be sickly if you don't get any sun exposure. And I totally do think that we need some low UV index time sun exposure to help regulate our circadian rhythms. So, a little bit of sun exposure in the morning, a little bit at night when the UV is low. So I'm not advocating just staying inside all the time.
Right. No, of course not.
Yeah.
Plus, it can be, it's good to let your eyes hit natural light, and there's all kinds of good reasons to be outside.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, nobody's saying don't go outside. All right.
Yeah. And then, there were some people that did not realize that I have had a skin cancer before. I had melanoma, my first melanoma removed probably about 2 months ago now. So, there were some well wishers that hoped I got skin cancer despite all of this. So that was nice.
Oh yeah. Those are
Um,
real angels.
yeah, but just kind of want to take it back and point out the things that do increase our skin cancer risk for those listening. UV exposure by far, the number one contributor to increased skin cancer risk. Tanning beds, number 2. This is what got me. I did tons of tanning beds when I was a teenager, which the exposure we get from either the sun or tanning beds does its worst damage when we're young. So, yeah, I worked in one for many years so I could get that free tan, which is weird because I don't really get all that tan. I get
No,
more of like a salmon color.
you're very pale.
So I don't know what I was
You're
thinking.
white or red. Those are your options. Yeah, that's kind of funny. Is that it's called irony? I don't know that you loved tanning beds as a kid, couldn't really tan, then became a dermatologist, then got melanoma from the tanning bed.
Yeah, I think a huge thing for the tanning beds for me was like growing up in Kentucky. Right, there were large periods of the year where it was like just dark and dreary.
Yep.
And I'm always cold.
Yep.
Well, now everyone listening knows I'm always freezing. So I love to be in there and just be like warm. And I think the light just really helped my mood. So I can see, when you hear people talk about like they just want to go in there, they're like almost addicted. Like I do think that that is a thing. But
Yeah.
anyway, that's I think what drove a lot of
That's when
my.
you get those like seasonal affective disorder light bulbs.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
Just put them around your house and
Yeah.
don't have to get cancer.
Yeah. Go to hot yoga.
There you go. Exactly.
Okay, so also your skin type, the more fair you are, the less melanin to help protect your little skin cells and their DNA from the sun, the worse off you are going to be in terms of risk. If you're immunosuppressed in any way, so certain drugs, definitely people who have organ transplants and they have to take these really aggressive immunosuppressants, they get tons of skin cancers.
Oh no.
It's just very hard to address. History of burns early in childhood, sunburns, actually also like physical burns. If you have, I don't know, some kind of hot liquid poured on you and you have a burn, that also increases your risk of non-melanoma skin cancer right in there.
Okay. Wow. I didn't know that. So a kid burns their arm like on a stove and that it heals, but you get a scar. That is a patch of skin that you should pay attention to in your skin exams a little more closely as you get older.
Yeah, especially if it's a significant deeper burn.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So nowhere did I say seed oils.
No, for those top 5 skin cancer risk categories, I didn't hear you say anything about what sort of oils we cook our food in. But okay.
Yeah. And I mean, the other thing, because I don't think I said it before, is that there are certain things in medicine that change and evolve. We think it's one thing, and then time and other studies tell us something else. That's not going to happen with the relationship between UV exposure and skin cancer. I mean, this is like dogma. One of the few facts that I know will not be overturned that are agreed upon in dermatology and oncology, just like that is the basis of it. It's not going anywhere. So keep that in mind when you're trying to interpret what some wellness influencer is trying to tell you.
All right. Well, now that that's settled, how many bottles of sunscreen do you think you own? Because if I were to guess, I'd say we're in the thousands.
Well, it is sort of my job to test out a lot of sunscreens so that I can help my patients and the people I talk to on social media choose one that's right for what's going on with their skin type, whether they have acne, whether they have eczema, help them find something they're willing to use that's not too greasy and works well with what they're trying to do.
Got
So
it. So
it's
these
kind
are
of
just
my job. But to
just doing
answer,
research.
yes, it's research. But to answer your question, I don't know, I'd say probably like around 40. Um,
Wow, you've actually counted.
no, I haven't. I'm actually guessing. I would say around 40. I would say that there are 15 that are in pretty heavy rotation. Because I really, you need to have options. You don't know. I mean, is it just the weekend? Is it a day you're wearing makeup and you want more of like a matte look or you want a more dewy look? Or do you want a tinted sunscreen? Or are you breaking out a little bit, so you want something that's a little more acne safe?
Got it. Wow.
Is it winter and your skin's drier and you want a more hydrating one?
Wow.
So you need to have options.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I didn't know. I just thought a bottle of sunscreen was a bottle of sunscreen.
I am a bit of a sunscreen connoisseur.
Yeah. Yeah. No, if you got questions about which is good, best for what, let us know. She will answer it. She will tell you. And it's not coming out of nowhere. She has tried the bottles. Yeah. All right. Well, anything else, or you think we could wrap it there? I think that's a pretty good start. I know that the topic of sunscreen is going to come up a lot, and I know that there's a whole lot more to say about it, at least as far as you're concerned. But yeah.
Yeah. I think this was a good start to the sunscreen conversation.
All right. Well, let's wrap there then. That was it. That was episode 2. Where can you find us, though? We've got social media handles of Derm Dumber on Instagram. And where can they find you?
Brooke Jeffy, MD on socials.
Oh.
Go write a supportive comment on that video with me wearing my fun visor.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too hard to find. It's the one where you look like a freak. But I love it. Okay, great. Let's say goodbye. That was easily the best podcast we've ever done.
Thanks for listening. We promise to get better at this. Whether we actually do depends largely on your willingness to like, subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast with your coolest friends. Just kidding. We will take anyone. Cool, uncool, moisturized, unmoisturized. Stay tuned for more skincare talk with a hint of sarcasm.